You are listening to Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness with your hosts, Angie Roberts and Kimberly Murphy. Please be advised that some of the topics of this podcast can be triggering and sensitive in nature.
Teenagers and young adults acquire STDs more easily than older people. By age 25, half of sexually active adults get an STD. Having multiple sex partners also raises the risk.
Hey Spoonies, mental health warriors, and our supporters and friends, welcome to another episode of Unified. I'm Kimberly Murphy here with Angie Roberts.
Hey y'all.
And today we are talking about STDs and STIs. So stigma and disease have always gone hand in hand. Some diseases more stigmatized than others. For example, Alzheimer's is innocent where COVID is stigmatized. Cancer is innocent and HIV is stigmatized, even though we're in the middle of a STD pandemic. Even the most sex positive people dance around this subject. So we're going to deliver it to you in a format everyone enjoys. Everyone seems to love our top 10. This topic needs to be normalized. So this is our top 10 sexually transmitted diseases or infections. So, Angie, what is number one on our top 10?
Okay. Chlamydia is our number one.
Oh, and I do want to add, if you don't mind me interrupting.
I don't mind.
All of you living in Alaska, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina, and New Mexico are the top offenders for chlamydia. You all have it the worst, so be careful. Just had to put that in there. I looked it up.
She really did.
I really did.
It's interesting because you can, as with some of these, you can have no symptoms at all.
Right.
But people may experience pain in the areas as your eyes, lower abdomen, pelvic, testicles, or vagina. Pain can occur during sexual intercourse or during urination. You can have abnormal vaginal discharge from the penis, vaginal bleeding, or eye discharge.
Oh, see, I didn't realize I don't know how the eyes are involved. That's interesting that you would have pain in your eyes and eye discharge.
Right. I don't know.
I didn't realize chlamydia involved the eyes, but I do have a quick story about this. Because some people are very secretive and ashamed when they get an STI or an STD, which is understandable. We all have a lot of shame around this, which here at Unified, we are trying to kind of break through the shame and normalize some of these topics. I mean, we just said a minute ago, not even, that by age 25, half of sexually active adults have had an STD. Half.
Right.
Half. Okay. So, I mean, think about that. So half of us are going through this and nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's ridiculous. So, okay. So anyways, most people don't want to talk about it, but this girl comes to my house and she's telling me that she's sitting in a clinic and this girl is also in a clinic and they both think they're exes of this guy. And it turns out they're both seeing the same guy. And they're both there to be checked out because of the same guy. And so she comes to my house because we feel bad for her because she just gone through a breakup. And I'm getting her ready and doing her hair. And she's telling me that this guy gave me chlamydia. She's screaming about it. She's so upset, and she didn't
it's
have
not
any.
Funny. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. Well, it was funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. Although she did have us laughing because of the way she was saying it. But
right, that's
funny. She had no symptoms, and but And of course, she said the girl was there for the same reason and it was also positive. You know,
Obviously. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you, Guy. But yeah, so she's telling us this.
Wow.
And she's like, I don't know how long I've had it. The people there said I could have had it for over months and months and
Yeah.
possibly didn't know. So, all because this guy was cheating and passing this around. So yeah, you never know.
You don't never know. Oh, I'm sorry if my English teacher is listening to this right now. You don't ever know.
Yeah.
If you have some of these. And so this is why that yearly checkup is so important. That you get it. Just when they say, do you want the whole blood panel? You just say yes. That's all it is a
Yeah.
blood panel. And then and
Yeah, and like
because some of
girls,
this left untreated can be really, really bad, as you will see.
yeah, girls, if you go and you get your pap smear and don't think that they're testing for STDs because they're not. So you have to actually ask for that and sign papers.
Right.
And the person who does your regular pap smear is not the one that's going to be able to do that. You actually have to see an OBGYN in order to get an STD check. So just to let you know, yes.
In Florida?
Yes.
So you don't have to do that in Michigan.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, so that varies by state. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes, you do. So just to let you know, some states will require that. Here you can get a pap smear done by a midwife, an assist, one of the assistants to the OBGYN. But in order to get an STD check, you actually have to see the OBGYN.
Or go to the health clinic? Or do they take you if somebody that's not got a lot of money,
Yeah, I think they do. Well, I think they have the GYN at the health clinic. So
yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. So you actually have to schedule that particular appointment. It's not covered by your pap smear. I just wanted to bring that up because a pap just checks for very specific things, but it does not. A lot of these things are not detected. You actually have to ask for it. So
right. Don't be afraid to ask either. Just tell them you want a full workup.
That's right. Yep, exactly. Okay, so the next one, what's the next one? I have stats for the states on this one too.
Gonorrhea.
Okay, so Mississippi, Alaska, Alabama, South Carolina, and Louisiana. Now the rest of you states are not gonna have to go around saying, oh, they didn't say my state, so it's good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying these states have the higher numbers. They're having a particular problem for whatever reason right now. These are the states that need to really be worried about this particular disease.
Yes, definitely. Because we are having an STD pandemic, or not pandemic, but what's it called?
Epidemic.
Thank you. An epidemic. And it's not HIV. It's these other, I mean, it's HIV is included, but it's not like it used to be just HIV.
Right.
It's all of these. So,
and a lot of the older ones are coming back, like syphilis, like that was kind of eradicated and it's not anymore. So
syphilis is no good. Okay. So we're going to talk about gonorrhea. Okay. The infection is caused by bacteria and often affects the urethra, rectum, or throat. Or the female's cervix can also be infected. Some of the symptoms of gonorrhea are frequency to pee, pus-like discharge or drip from the penis, watery, creamy, or green vaginal discharge, discoloration and swelling at the penis opening, heavier periods or spotting, sharp pain in the lower abdomen, itching around or in the anus, and testicular pain.
That sounds absolutely horrendous.
Gonorrhea isn't, like, from what I understand, a very fun disease. So,
but you can also
disease. None of these are very
none
fun.
of them are fun, but I know what you mean. But okay, so I knew a girl who had it and didn't even know. I heard you can have this for up to like 10 years and not even know, like have no symptoms.
Yeah.
The girl that I know actually just passed out, went to the hospital, and they told her she had it. She had gotten it from a boyfriend. Yeah, she had gotten it from her boyfriend. So, but these symptoms sound absolutely,
Horrible.
could
Like
you
you would know you
imagine?
had it, but then, like you said, you can have no symptoms up to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, if you leave this untreated, it can end up as the pelvic inflammatory disease. And it's a
PID.
serious, yeah, it's a serious infection that develops when a certain STD or other infections aren't treated. It can cause chronic pain and infertility. And then you can have lots of abdominal pain and even a fever.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of these come with abdominal pain and a fever,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because it's down there. So,
That's really scary though, because when you think about the fact that, you could have gonorrhea for years, it could turn into pelvic inflammatory disease. You could lose your ability to have kids.
yeah, there's
Like,
some of these that you can lose your
yeah.
ability to have kids if it's left untreated. So, that's just
Mm-hmm.
really why people need to get checked. We all should get checked.
Okay, so number 3 is this one's extremely common.
It actually is genital herpes.
I don't have state stats for this one. It's probably widely spread, and that's why.
Yeah, she can't make any of y'all feel bad about this one. I'm just kidding.
It's very common. So,
Right, it is.
yeah, yeah.
It's a sexually transmitted disease caused by herpes simplex virus type 1 or type 2. Commonly, there are 5,700, no,
572,000.
thank you.
You're welcome.
New genital herpes infections in the US in a single year, and most people don't know they have it. So the
Mm,
first infection is called an outbreak and has really painful symptoms. Um, the there's pain and itching, small red bumps or white blisters, ulcers until they scab over and start shedding. Later outbreaks are less intense and sometimes unnoticed, so the person doesn't know they are contagious. Sorry about my voice, y'all. It's kind of going, so I work with me.
yeah, it's okay.
However, however, how however, there can also be burning and tingling or itching where the infection first entered the body, pain in the lower back, buttocks, and legs, and extremely rare you can get meningitis.
Yeah,
I
it
wanted to
travels.
say,
Yeah, it travels through the nerve ending. So,
right, I wanted to say um that okay, so when they were talking about the burning, tingling, retching, now I don't I have a cold sore that keeps
hmm,
coming back, or a herpes one
yeah,
type 1. That's what it is.
that's a cold. Yep.
And if you've ever had them, you can tell they're coming because it starts to tingle and like itch a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever had one, but I can tell when it's coming back
Right.
because it starts to tingle right there.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I can only imagine that would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, like here it says most people don't even know they have it. So I know that
Right,
there's a
right.
situation where people they don't get the outbreaks again for whatever reason. And there are things that
Right.
can cause outbreaks like stress. Same thing as like what would cause what do you call it? I'm having brain fog too. This is a great podcast. We're both having brain fog. Like when it stirs up the disease, triggers that would stir up
Triggers,
the disease.
yes.
Um,
Stress is one of those triggers
yeah,
for
for a
them.
lot.
Sunlight,
Hmm.
um, I'm trying to
So
blank for everything else.
so like for herpes, it might be stress or certain foods or whatever, so depending on the
Mhm.
person. And then other people just might have it all the time, and it's got to be horrible, but there are antivirals that they can take that controls the virus,
Right.
because it is a virus.
It
So
doesn't go away.
no.
Um, no, it can lay dormant in your system for a long time after the
Right,
first initial outbreak.
right.
But Yeah. So I wanted to mention that herpes simplex type 1 is the type you get on your mouth, and the type 2 is the STD. However, y'all, I have to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Any STD can be transmitted to your mouth or from your mouth during
Mm-hmm.
oral sex.
Right.
I've had people we've talked about it in groups, like, is this really true? Yes, it is
Of course it's
absolutely
true.
true. That, I mean, it will only make sense that it's true. If you're having an outbreak of herpes on your mouth,
Yeah.
please don't do oral on somebody, because now you're going to give it to them.
Right.
So anyway,
And please don't ask someone to do that to you if you're having an outbreak.
Right. Oh,
Think
gosh,
about it.
please, come on now.
There are men. I've heard stories.
I know. I've heard stories too. And it's like, come on, let's
Yeah.
be a little more sensitive to that.
Right. And I did want to mention something. There is a connection between HIV and herpes because of the ulcers that herpes causes. It makes HIV much easier to transfer. In addition, having genital herpes increases the number of CD4 cells, which is the target cell for HIV entry in the genital mucosa. So it's the perfect storm. So
yeah,
if you have herpes, if you have genital herpes and you have an outbreak and you are with somebody with HIV, that is the perfect storm for you to also contract HIV.
well, they tell you don't have sex when you have an outbreak. So
yes,
obviously. Don't do
obviously.
anything when you have an outbreak. Just
right.
Keep it to yourself.
Right. But
sorry.
like if some people don't know it, there's probably a chance that you could have something going on and not know. If you've been diagnosed and you have it, you have to take extra special precautions, just like someone with HIV would have to, and take your medications, and take those extra precautions, and just know that you're more at risk for HIV than someone who doesn't have it. So that's just something you need to know, something you need to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to always keep those things in mind. Number 4 is HPV. Human. Do you know how to say this one?
No.
Papilloma. I think it's papillomavirus.
I don't know. Somebody correct us. I'm sure
Kathy correct us. Oh, Kathy will correct us.
Yes, we don't know how to say it, but
it's HPV.
HPV. Everybody knows what HPV is.
HPV. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
It's an STI. It's the most common in the United States. A group of more than 200 related viruses,
which I find interesting. 200 related viruses.
How does everybody not have it? That's what I wonder sometimes.
Right.
It's highly contagious, and skin to skin contact will make it, transmit it
of the infected area. Yeah.
Affected the area.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it. Okay. You can get all of these vaginally, anal, or orally. So I'm not going to keep repeating that. I have that in my outline, but
right.
all of them you can get this way. So however you have sex is how you can get it. The symptoms for HPV are itching, warts. It is preventable by a vaccine.
Yeah, you have to take 2 vaccines, like
before you're 25. Is that correct?
Well, they do it now earlier. They start at 12.
But I meant before. Yeah, between 12 and 25, I think.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I had turned 26 when they come out with the vaccine, and I was like, what?
It was too late for you to take it. Yeah.
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 So HPV is not curable, but it is treatable without treatment. You can expect genital warts, cervical cancer, and cervical cancer.
Yeah, and cervical cancer is really not fun to treat. I had it when I was young, and there's a bunch of different treatments they do if they decide not to take everything out. So it's long and hard to. People say cervical cancer is pretty easy. It's not.
No.
Yeah, it's a long road. So yeah, you want to definitely avoid HPV because it's a strong precursor to cervical cancer, which is why the vaccine is definitely being pushed for younger girls so that they don't get into that situation
Right.
with cervical cancer. So, yeah.
Depending on the type of HPV that you have, the virus can linger in the body for years. In most cases, the body can produce antibodies against the virus and clear the virus within a year or two, which is pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Because it's just
Isn't
an
that cool how your
infection.
body works sometimes? I just think it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Most strands of HPV go away permanently without treatment. So,
Thank goodness.
yes, guys, don't think, oh, it goes away. Don't forget, if it's untreated, it can lead to serious issues.
Now, I have talked to somebody recently about this, as a matter of fact, and they said that the genital warts were treated. That they do laser treatment.
Oh, okay.
And they do like a freezing treatment.
Oh, I heard of that.
Right. So if they can get rid of the actual warts, obviously the cancer is no longer a risk. So they do PAPs to see if there's any sort of like precursors to cancer cells to make sure that they have basically gotten rid of any sort of, risk. So so they can do all of that before it even gets to that point. So definitely make sure you get checked, and that can be done with your regular pap smear. This is something that they do check with your regular pap smear. So if you get a pap smear once a year, you're being checked for this already.
Yes, they do that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it's so highly contagious.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's thank goodness it's an STI. It's not an STD, and you can cure it. You can clear it. Thank you. Thank you that it's not permanent. Because, oh my goodness, because it is so contagious and hard to get rid of. So, yeah. Number 5, this is one that's,
this is one that's really stigmatized.
Very scary. Yeah, very scary for our generation because.
It is a very scary virus, just period. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus.
Today.
Right. She know, y'all, why she writes these words out like this is because she knows I can't say. That's all. So she's making me look like a fool
we know that our listeners are smarter, so they know what we're trying to say.
Right. AIDS, HIV. They're
out there laughing
AIDS.
at us.
Y'all know what that is.
At least we're making it entertaining.
Right. Trying. Right.
Yeah.
HIV causes AIDS and interferes with the body's ability to fight infections. Now, let me ask, because I'm almost positive HIV is a autoimmune disorder, correct? Or no?
Well, it's a virus, yeah. It's immune deficiency virus.
Immune deficiency. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It
gotcha.
Makes it so that your immune system does not work.
Oh, okay. So it's not attacking it. It just makes it where it doesn't work.
Yeah,
okay.
It basically suppresses it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically, and someone with HIV, the symptoms that they get, from what I understand, is, well, someone with AIDS will actually pass away from an infection they receive because their immune system cannot fight it off. So it would be something that a normal person wouldn't necessarily die from because our own immune system can take care of it. So.
Well, it's not, and it's not only spread by sex, y'all. Unclean needles, unclean blood, unscreened blood
transfusions. Yep.
And then it can be mother to baby by pregnancy, labor, or breastfeeding. So mamas make sure that, and I think they do like the first if I remember right, I think they did an AIDS test on me the first time I went into my gyno when I was
Yep.
pregnant. So
Me too. Yep.
yeah, I think so.
They
So
do that.
they do make sure, and then halfway through they do another AIDS test. So that's what they did to me anyway. I think it's to make sure that you didn't have it at first and it
Hmm.
didn't, there's a screen time
Hmm.
there or screen, what's it called? A time where the virus builds up. Okay. Whatever that's called.
We're really doing good today.
Oh, you guys. Okay. So the symptoms of this are pain in the abdomen. Within weeks of the HIV infection, you get flu-like symptoms such as fever, sore throat, and fatigue can occur.
Which means like you think you're getting the flu. You have no idea, that it's you're like, oh,
Right.
I got the flu. I'm fine.
The disease is usually asymptomatic. What is asymptomatic? That
Asymptomatic means
is
there's no
no
symptoms. You don't,
symptoms, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Until it progresses to AIDS, which is, that's scary. AIDS symptoms include weight loss, fever or night sweats, fatigue, and reoccurrent infections.
Yeah, that's when you have the actual disease. That's when things have
Yeah.
progressed to disease stage, and you're really sick.
There is no cure, but with a strict it's antiretroviral therapy, you can dramatically slow the process and
Secondary
infections. Yeah. Plus, with precautions, make sex even safe again. Now, Kimberly, there is a pill, right, that the partner can take?
Yep. They've
to
come up
help
with
them.
they've come up with some great stuff. Like the partner can take a medication that can protect them from getting HIV, and then of
That's
course
great.
the stuff that they the antivirals and stuff that they take,
Right. Yeah.
together. So yeah, it's to the point now basically where if everyone's taking the medication they're supposed to take, the risk is so low
That's wonderful.
that they can
Because
basically, yeah.
it was, there was a long time that only eight people would be together because
Yep.
well, they just didn't want to spread
And
it
it
to other
was and,
people
and
and
then it
stuff.
was like scary to even talk to someone to find out if you had it, because
Oh, they didn't want to. Oh, yeah.
you didn't even
But
want to tell someone you had it because people were
no,
so scared. Like HIV and AIDS were like, oh my God, in the 80s and 90s, like people were scared to death
they
of,
were. They didn't want to
yeah.
touch you. It's like you were a leper.
Yep. So
Don't touch them.
it has come a long way, but there's still lots of stigma. And I know that the community really wants people to hear them and for them to be recognized as how they are now and not from their horrible history.
Right.
That they've
That
come a
they're
long
just normal
way.
people. They're just
Yeah.
like
And
us who just
well,
happen to.
that and their medical progress has come a long way. They're not those people anymore. They're
Yes.
in a whole different category now. Like their disease has progressed, their treatment has progressed. They live completely different lives than they used to. They're a lot healthier. The stigma that has stuck to them isn't fair. It's not fair.
It's really not.
No. So
Let's just get that out of the way.
yeah, we need to remind people, like, hello, that needs to be taken care of. Like people with HIV need to be like, everybody needs to realize that you're not going to get infected.
Right.
I mean, people still feel like you can get infected sitting next to them or from saliva. I mean, we're still stuck in that. Like, it's so stupid. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Now, people, get yourself together.
Yeah, basically.
So on that note, number 6 is the great syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
And Kimberly has something to tell you.
Nevada. Nevada. I'm not surprised. Sorry, Nevada. Nevada, New Mexico, Mississippi, California, and Oklahoma. You all have some problems with syphilis, so be
Yeah,
careful
it's
out there.
highest in your state. So
Do not know why, but yeah.
that's the way it is. Yeah.
I have my
So
suspicions about Nevada, but the rest of you.
has Nevada been on all the lists? I'm just wondering. No, I'm just kidding.
They
Okay.
I wouldn't be
Shut up,
surprised if
Angie.
they were.
Okay.
Don't come at us, Nevada, okay? We're
We love you,
sorry.
Nevada.
We're
We love
sorry.
you.
We're saying it now.
She's saying it and laughing. I'm saying it. I'm not laughing. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My therapist says I use humor to cover up uncomfortable situations. So
I do too. So we are, yeah, this is,
we knew that when we knew that when we decided to do this topic, it was going to be kind of rough to get through. So we
So
weren't
we're
sure
like,
how it was going to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay. So syphilis has 3 stages. One is painless sores on the genitals, rectum, or mouth. Step 2, a rash. And step 3, it starts damage to the brain, nerves, eyes, heart, joints, liver.
Oh my gosh.
And it can lead to stillborn or developmentally delayed babies.
Wow.
Y'all, syphilis is no joke. It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back into like history books, but I think if I remember right, it killed a lot of people. Like at one point, it was
In Vietnam? Is that what
yeah,
was that
yeah, I
what was
think
going
so.
on in
Like
Vietnam?
yeah, didn't it kill like
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of people? Like it was, I don't know, but it was like one of those diseases that just, and then they thought they completely eradicated it, and now here it comes,
Right.
bringing its way back. And you know, this is the thing when we don't take sexually transmitted diseases seriously, they will come back. They make their way back, and
They
here we
do. They
go.
come back around.
Yep.
We have to be careful.
Yep.
If we just all need to be more careful.
Mm-hmm.
Condoms, whatever.
And you know, you know, the condom thing, we were just talking about which one was it that the condoms would not actually be even beneficial. You have to be super careful.
Genital warts.
Yes.
Because even if you touch one with your hand, you're going to get a genital wart on your finger.
Yeah, it's that no,
Any
it's no
contact.
joke, you guys. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't use everything else is good. You have to definitely use condoms, but you have to realize too that condoms are not going to protect you from everything. So
Well, if there's any kind of, if you see, y'all, if you see any kind of bumps or weird stuff, cauliflower looking bumps, especially, back out.
yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
If you see any raw pink looking bumps,
Right.
definitely stop what you're doing and say you need to go to the bathroom. collect
Call your
yourself,
best friend.
call your best friend, ask them what to do to get you out of the situation, have them call you and say there's an emergency and leave. This is my advice to you.
This is because we have a plan, okay?
Yeah,
This
you
is
got to
'cause we
have a plan in place. This is your emergency plan, and get yourself out of there so that you can talk about it later when when you're more comfortable.
Right, or just never go back. I don't know.
If it's a relationship that you feel comfortable talking about it, then
Yes.
go ahead and talk about it. But if not, there's your escape plan.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Call your best friend. They'll
if you
get
see
you out of
anything
it.
funny, don't risk it. Don't risk it.
It's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Number 7 is hepatitis B, which is another big one. It's a vaccine preventable also. It's a liver infection. It's spread by semen, blood, and other fluids. Now, this is the one I believe that you can get, that people were getting, or people get from restaurants also. Is that correct? Or is that Hep
Yes.
C?
No.
Okay, it's Hep B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I have taken I've been vaccinated for this.
Yeah, this
So
is the one that nurses have to be vaccinated for also.
right.
Mm-hmm.
The symptoms are yellowing of the eyes, and that's due to the liver. Anytime you see yellowing of the eyes, that usually means something's going on with the liver.
Yeah, it's
Just in,
jaundice. Yep.
yeah. Abdominal pain, dark urine, fatigue, and
Dark
some people,
urine is the kidneys.
right.
Yep.
Some people, particularly children, don't experience any symptoms. Left untreated, you can have scarring of the liver, or it can lead to liver cancer or a higher risk of.
Now, I want to add something to this because I know they're saying hepatitis B specifically, but I want to say something about Hep C because
Mhm,
my father passed away. Some people know of Hep C, basically.
mhm,
He was an IV drug user before I was born and got his life together, and later on in life it just came back to bite him. He
mm.
had, he had Hep C all these years and didn't know, or we're not sure, but it he got sick later in life, and basically the Hep C had a lot of these same symptoms. The jaundice, the cirrhosis, abdominal pain, yellowing of skin and eyes, uh, you know, it
Right,
starts to affect the brain because of the toxicity of because the kidneys can't like filter things out. But I wanted to say it kind of is an STD too, because although it's hard to pass Hep C just through semen, any kind of blood transfer or body fluid transfer, there is that risk. Blood, especially with Hep C, which is why IV drug users tend to pass Hep C around.
right.
But I did want to mention it just because I feel like it's
Just a
one
little
that,
sidebar.
yeah, just something that people should think about too, because it is, transferable. Um, and it can be passed to your baby if you're pregnant.
Yes.
Fortunately, my mom never got it. I never got it. Thank you, God. But yeah, so a lot of the hepatitis A, like they're all contagious and you have to be careful, but B is obviously the most contagious in this case, but
Right.
yeah, I did want to mention C.
I'm glad you did. I think it's important.
Hmm.
Number
Yeah,
8 is trichomonas or trick. That's what they normally call it.
trick.
Trick. Um, a sexually transmitted disease, um, infection caused by a parasite. Common risk factors are multiple sex partners and not using condoms. Trichomonas causes a foul smelling discharge in the vagina, genital itching, painful urination in women, and men typically have no symptoms.
Well,
Um,
that seems a little unfair.
I know. The thing was, I'm gonna just let it all out here because I'm
This
gonna.
is turning into a sip and spill now.
This is turning into a sip and spill right now because I'm gonna just say that I had trichomonas when I was young,
Yeah,
um, and I didn't really know that I had it. I didn't have any really symptoms like that
right,
or anything that I noticed to be different.
right.
So of course, women, the symptoms don't appear for 28 days. So I could have
Oh,
just gotten it when I went to the doctor.
right. Well,
So
I just
that might
wanted
be
to
it.
say what I wanted to say was men can be carriers for so many things,
Oh,
and they
yes.
never
Sorry,
have any
guys.
damn symptoms for most of these. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of
Mm,
I was talking to the doctor, and they said, a lot of men can just have different things. They don't necessarily have symptoms. They don't know that they're sick with anything, and they're just
right.
considered to be carriers.
Right.
Um, So you men kind of have it lucky, but in a way you don't, because you're passing stuff around and you don't even know you're doing it.
Right. And that's why when we're not like saying don't do it, but you have no symptoms of some of these diseases. I'm not saying don't have sex. We're just saying make sure that you get checked.
Yeah. And
Especially when you change partners. If you change partners,
yeah.
if you're having a lot of sex, please use condoms. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, and make sure that the person doesn't have genital warts.
Well, what I'm saying is if you're in a relationship, even with more than one woman, and you start noticing that they're going to the doctor and something's happening,
right,
go get yourself checked out. Don't be lazy, because you might be the one, you might be the common thread here. You might be the one passing this stuff around. So just
right.
get it taken care of. Like, I don't know.
Or even she might have something and be passing it to you if you
Exactly.
notice like an odor coming from her or something.
Exactly.
I would go get tested.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys tend to be less inclined to want to go, but really,
They just
guys
don't want to go to doctors.
I know,
period.
guys, you got to go. You probably won't have symptoms, so go.
Right.
Not
Right.
having symptoms doesn't mean you don't have it. We just want to make sure
Right.
you guys hear that.
And
Just because you don't have symptoms doesn't mean you don't have it. So
okay, and so we do say, oh, you're lucky you don't have symptoms, but let's talk about what happens if it's left untreated. Now, it will spread to other organs in men, such as your prostate. It could contribute to male infertility. So, guys, you might not have any symptoms, but you have some very big things that it would happen if it was left untreated.
You know what? You don't want prostate cancer in the future.
Right. No.
No, I'm not saying
you
this
don't
will
want to
cause
be
it,
infertility, but or anything,
well, some guys might not care about that. But what I'm saying is you don't want. Do you want you don't want problems like that.
No.
And you want your women to be healthy.
Yes, of course.
So
you should anyway.
Our listeners do.
They're all
stand-up men. Okay, so
I agree. Our only one listener that's a male.
Our one listener.
And he really just shares our podcast. That's all he really does. But that we won't call any names. So the next one is no, I'm just kidding. So the next one is bacterial vaginosis. It tends to affect the childbearing ages, and the causes are sex and douching. Ladies, douching is not good.
Horrible for you.
Bad.
Throw them away.
Don't do it.
Ever. Never,
Again.
Ever do it.
Don't do it again. Because it takes all your bacteria. I'm going to tell you why. It takes all your bacteria out of your vagina. Yep. And then other bacteria set up. You can set up yourself for yeast infections and just other infections that come with having bad yeast in the vagina.
Bacteria will set up shop in your the bad bacteria. And
yes.
Yeah. You're working against yourself.
You really
you're
are
washing out all that healthy stuff is what you're doing.
Yeah, I used to.
Your body
and
is
then
set
I found
up.
Out, so
yeah, your body is set up to clean itself. It knows what to do. Let your body do it. If something isn't smelling right, go to the doctor, because that means something's wrong.
Right. If you're not right.
So
yeah, maybe you. Yes.
That's a sign that something's wrong. So, but douching, no, that's just going to make stuff a lot worse.
And douching isn't going to take a bacterial STD away either. I'm just going to say that. So don't get that mixed up in your head.
No.
Some people have no symptoms of this, which is crazy. And then some have abnormal vaginal discharge, itching, and odor. But this one does not come with other health issues.
Well, I have a friend, and I say friend loosely so that people don't know who I'm talking about. So I say friend. I'm going to say friend all the time, just so listeners know. She had this situation, and it got so bad they had to burn the entire inside of her uterus.
Oh, see, it didn't say that.
Well, it's because she douched so often.
Oh.
So ladies, let that be a lesson. Listen to what I'm telling you. They had to burn the inside of her uterus, burn it to get all like a fresh start because she douched so often and they could not get rid of this infection.
Ladies, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Throw those douches away. You don't need them. You don't need them. If you like to feel fresh, we were actually just talking about this earlier. Summer's Eve has these really wonderful pH-friendly wipes that I think are so amazing. I love.
And you
them
can
so
get
much.
unscented. You can get unscented, ladies, for the ladies that are like me and are very sensitive.
Yeah,
and they have some great powders.
Yep, they have powders for summertime that are not like baby powder that are going to cause cancer. They don't have the talc powder in them. Check them out. You might love them. I think they're great. So, to like freshen you up a little bit, make you feel a little better. But yeah, if you have a real problem, go to the doctor because odor comes from bacteria.
Yes.
So if there's a really strong odor, that's a good sign that something's out of balance and you just need to be checked out.
Don't be embarrassed about it. Just go do it. It'll be okay. They've seen it all, y'all. They've seen it all.
just put some glitter down there and make it fun.
Oh my Jesus Christ. She did not say put glitter down there.
Did you ever hear that story? Let me tell it real quick. It's fun. Okay, so a woman, she says, "Oh my God, I got to go to the gynecologist. I forgot my appointment." And she didn't have time to take a shower. So she grabs her washcloth and she wipes up real quick and gets all clean because she does, and wipes down there and gets dressed and goes to the gynecologist, gets up there and, gets in the stirrups and everything. And here's the doctor kind of giggling. And she's like, "What's going on?" And, everything okay down there? Yeah, everything's great, but you don't have to get all, dressed up for me next time. And she said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "I looked down and it's like a disco ball down there." she said she had used a washcloth that she had used before to wipe all the glitter off her daughter's face or something, her face or something from some sort of thing that she did, and it was covered in glitter. And so when she washed it, her vajayjay was shining like a disco ball.
Hey, she has a unicorn vajayjay.
So I was like, hey, it made her doctor laugh. It made her laugh.
That's hilarious.
Just put a little disco ball down there and you'll be good to go.
Right. At least it'll entertain your doctor.
Nothing could go wrong when it's shiny.
My favorite color is glitter, so just put it there too.
Yeah, they're gonna do that someday. Well, they already do it. What am I talking about?
They already do. Oh my gosh, let's not get into
what is it called? No, we have to talk about this. What is it called?
I don't know.
Vajazzle? No.
Oh no.
Like bedazzle. Yes, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. It's like bedazzle, but for your vajayjay, and they put these like things, like little, like the gems. I'm not even kidding you. You can look this up. You can get it done, and you can have gems all over your vajayjay in different designs. Yes.
I'm so glad that you know things like that.
For those of you who want, like, I don't know, a glittery heart on your vajayjay, you can go have that done.
So yeah,
we don't need pictures. I'm sure there's those of you out there. Just let us know though how it feels and if it hurts and what it looks like, and if you like it, let us know.
I would think they would have to wax that area and then oh my gosh, wax.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you can't have
any. You look. I'm not no wax.
No wax?
No, I have such sensitive skin. Like I can't even have like tape on me. The adhesive tape from the hospital.
You can't. That's right. Yeah.
It pulls off my skin, so I can only imagine.
You not be able to handle that then, I'm sure.
No. Okay, so number 10, the big one that I can barely say.
Cytomegalo.
Yep, cytomegalovirus. I have had to practice that a little while.
I was looking at
the way that I have it written out. Yeah, cytomegalovirus, just like it sounds. I had to get my friend Kathy. She's a nurse, and my mama Kay, she's a nurse. So I said, "How do you say this word?" And she told me, and I said, oh, it's just like it looks, but you don't know where to.
I'm so disappointed
The
she couldn't
words
be
are.
here with us today.
I
She would have,
know. We wish Kathy could have been.
yeah, she has a lot of good information on stuff like this, maybe next time, but she was very
Right,
helpful in, yeah, some of these words. So thank
for
you,
sure.
Kathy.
Yes. You retain this virus for life. It's spread by sex. It can be spread through breast milk, transplanted organs, and sometimes blood transplants.
Transplanted organs. See,
Yeah,
now I never even thought of that. That's the first time we've seen that.
right. It's a little interesting tip.
Right. And
Yeah.
breast milk.
Breast
Yeah.
milk, you have to be careful, ladies.
Mm,
There's a couple of them that can go through the breast milk, and you don't want to,
okay.
you know, do that. Okay. So the symptoms are fatigue, swollen glands, fever, sore throat, muscle aches.
Okay, so that's us every day.
Right. Sounds
No,
like,
like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, what about these people who have chronic illness who feel like this all the time? How are they going to
right.
know? Like,
Well, that's why we go to the doctor every year.
yeah, like so our chronic illness family who's listening to
Right.
this, you're going to have to really be in tune with yourself. I know that you're in tune with your bodies already, but if you start to feel this way, and there's no real reason for it, and you have like some suspicion that maybe you were with somebody new recently, or maybe just keep this in mind. It may not just be another flare. You may have something else going on. It may be one of these things. So, because I know a lot of these are just things we deal with anyway. So it might be a little harder to detect right away. So you got to just like when they tell us to keep those diaries and keep our activities on the diary and stuff, maybe this is why, something like this, so that we could track
Right.
what was going on. Yeah.
Right. So if you're left untreated, I do want to say this before we forget.
Hmm.
This is really scary, y'all. It can spread to the body, organ to organ.
Oh my
It can
God.
cause you respiratory issues, damage to your central nervous system, and bleeding ulcers in your digestive system. So you really,
You
some
could
of
die from
these,
this.
yes, like you may not know that you have it. You have to be really careful. And I just Googled this real quick while you were talking.
Hmm.
They have at-home STD tests. They were just released. It looks like in April.
Oh, okay.
Just look it up. I just did a simple Google STD home test, and I mean, they're kind of expensive, y'all. I see that for everything, it looks like it's $150.
But
But
how many tests does it cover? Do you know? Can you tell real quick how many
um
tests it covers? Does it cover?
seven transmitted diseases. This one says it doesn't say
Okay.
which.
Probably
Oh,
the more common ones, I'm
chlamydia,
assuming.
gonorrhea, Hep C, HIV, syphilis, trichomonas, and HIV virus. H no, herpes simplex virus type 2. So that's pretty
Wow.
good.
That is pretty good. And it was Hep C on their notice.
Yeah.
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 Okay. That's interesting. Okay. That's good to know though. I would buy one. Yeah.
Right. Especially if look, if you're embarrassed to go to the doctor, it's really worth it. Like, just think if you did it once a year.
Or if you didn't have
But
insurance.
but
If you didn't
really,
have insurance, it's a good way to get it done.
yeah, it's probably cheaper than a pap smear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you do need to still go get your pap smear though.
Yeah,
I'll
especially for
say that.
the warts. Yeah, you have
Because you
to.
never know with the cervical cancer if you have that in your family or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
anything could be going on. They just
Once
need
a
to make
year,
sure you
ladies.
know.
Once a year. You have to go.
Yeah. I haven't been in 2 years, so y'all can bash me now.
I mean, it's really worth it because the
It is.
sooner you get it, because it goes in stages. If you have a bad pap and there's cervical cancer cells, they'll start going in. There's 1 through 4, 4 being the worst, I believe. And,
Mhm.
that will determine how bad it's progressed and what kind of treatment you need. So, of course, the sooner they catch it, the better off you are. And
Right.
after you get through that stage 4, then you enter into like real cancer territory and they're going to start taking things out of your body. Um, And of course, you want to get to the point. You want to get it. You don't want to have to go through any of that. You want to be able to just get your pap, find out something's off, and take care of it immediately.
Absolutely.
Painless and pretty and done. You know what I mean? So get those paps, ladies. They don't hurt. You know, they don't hurt.
Right.
Find a doctor you like, let them do it. I always thought it was weird to have a GP do it, but lately I've been letting my GP do it, and it's like it's so easy because I'm already there, and it's actually not weird at all.
And sometimes you know your GP better. Excuse me, guys. Sometimes you know your GP better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you haven't had a baby with your gyno, then you probably know your.
I've
not with your gyno, okay? If you've had a baby,
I knew what
delivered by your gyno. Well, I have to make sure because
I don't have that doctor anymore who helped me through the pregnancies and the one who helped me through the cervical cancer and everything I went through. Because I moved down here. I moved so now I have my GP and I don't mind her doing the paps.
Right.
Ladies, just if you don't want to go to another doctor for another thing, just have them do it. Really, it's no big deal.
Right. It's really not.
No.
And there is a national STD hotline. It's 1-800-232-4636. 1-800-232-4636. We'll put it on the
on all
website,
our
of course,
websites.
And all this other information.
And what do they offer? What do they offer, Angie? Counseling. Is it like a counseling line if you found out you've had an STD or you're worried about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just any information or anything like that you might need to know.
That's good to know.
Because it's ran by the CDC.
Oh, perfect. All right. Yeah, that would be a good resource to have. Because there's a lot of misinformation that goes around, and it would be, I know if I was just recently diagnosed with HIV or something like that, I would definitely want a resource like that where they could actually answer my questions.
Right.
So that was interesting to get through. I hope that everybody were able to follow us. I know we stumbled a little. We're both dealing with brain fog. And then, of course, this is a kind of a difficult subject to talk about. Definitely. In a way, mostly because of the words, not necessarily because of the subject. I hope that everybody, we were able to put the information out in a way that people could understand. I'm hoping that we did a good job of doing that. If you have any questions, though, reach out to us. Our intentions are obviously to kind of take the shame away from all this. I hope that we put it out in a way that was like reflected that.
Right.
I don't know why we have so much shame around this. It shouldn't be shameful. Sex is not shameful. Bodily disease is not shameful.
Right.
So I don't understand why we put so much embarrassment around this, really, honestly. If you get a disease if you get an infection or a disease, just remember that stat. Half of the people under 25 have a sexually transmitted disease or infection. Just remember that.
Right. I got a story for you real quick.
Okay.
So we were in middle school. And we had an AIDS assembly. Mm-hmm. And this is really short. All I remember from it is her saying, if it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it. So y'all, blood, semen, anything, if it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it because you might get some kind of thing. Okay, that's all. That's my little PSA for the day. Isn't that hilarious? Like that
is really funny. That is middle school advice right there. That's great.
If it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it.
Oh my God. There you have it, folks.
Right. That was the nurse's.
That's great. That's great. It's not necessarily our advice for you guys, but
Right. I
if
just thought it was
if
funny.
it works for you, that's great. Anyway.
But truly, like, if it's some stranger's like spit or something, don't pick it up.
Ew.
You know how people will clean stuff up though. Like,
gross.
yeah, don't do it. Don't clean up unless you have gloves on. Okay. Oh, okay.
We just went from sexually transmitted diseases to germophobic stuff. I am like, I was fine before, and now I'm sitting here cringing. If you could see me right now, thank God we're not on video yet, because I'm sitting here cringing.
I honestly feel like I need a gynecologist.
Like
I'm gonna go get a pap smear real quick. Okay.
I was seriously fine
this
5
was
minutes ago,
gross.
and then you mentioned spit and gloves, and I just
Oh yes,
I
you can't
cringed.
stand spit.
I have a thing with spit, you guys. Okay, just so you know.
I forgot. Sorry about
Oh
that.
my God, my belly is like turning. Okay. What is the mantra for the week, Angie?
All right. You are love. You are light. Even at your lowest, you are still a gift to the world, always.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what you're going through. You're always a gift to the world.
That's right. That's right. That's so true. And I think we all feel like we have to be at our best to be loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not true.
It's not.
Nope. Come as you are, and you'll be loved as you are. And, you're not any less if you are sick.
Yeah, that's so true, especially with these invisible viruses, which an STD can be an invisible virus or bacterial.
Yep. Our chronic illness family can completely relate to this, I'm sure. And
yeah.
You know, you're not any less loved just because you are sick. It's okay to be sick. It's okay to not be okay.
Yes,
So,
it is.
And
it's
don't
okay.
keep it to yourself. You know, see a doctor, talk to the people you trust, call the number. Don't sit alone with it. You don't need to be alone.
Right.
So it's good for your
Tell a
mental health.
trusted friend.
Yeah, it's good for your mental
Talk
health.
about it.
Absolutely.
That's the guy that gave it to you. I mean, their girl.
Cuss them out if you have to.
Right.
Or whatever you got to do. Whatever's good for your mental health.
Oh yeah.
Write us a letter. You know, whatever. We'll help you cuss them out.
We got your back.
We got your back. We do hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did get something out of it, please like, share, follow, or subscribe. Please show us some love. Please show us some love.
Yes, please.
Please show us some safe love. All of our social media information will be announced in just a moment. Please join us next week for a brand new episode. You don't want to miss it. You never know what we're going to say. Until then, thanks for listening. And please remember, we are stronger together.
Peace out, y'all.
Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness can be found at anchor.fm/unified. There you can find all social media links as well as other ways to listen.